Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and talk through the engineering rotation because don't really have time to put it down on paper, and I can't think of a good way to explain it in words. So, first, these are the stats I'm running, 1600 alacrity. I run this for both marksmanship and engineering. In the past, I have run slightly higher alacrity for engineering, and it still works really well, like up to 2100 actually. And I can still do above 23,000 with that. So that is viable. I think running, honestly, the 1.3 is viable too, even without gold dogs if you really want to. This is my preferred though. I just do it for both NG and marksmanship. Um, I'm actually using power crystals here. That's why my crit is a little bit low, because for marksmanship, which this is my marksmanship set with periodic intensity in it. I like running higher crit and a little bit lower power, but for this I'd rather have the higher power and lower crit. So those are my stats. Let's get a drink quickly. So the easiest way to think about the engineering rotation is in blocks of 5 abilities or 6 GCDs, because each block is going to have a series of shots in it, which is 2 GCDs. So 5 abilities, starting with your plasma probe. So after your 4 ability opener, that's when your blocks start, and you're just going to continue that through the entire rotation. You have 2 main blocks. The first main one is your block that has explosive probe right before it. So that's the one we're going to start with. So I'm going to call that block number 1. You're going to have explosive probe, and then your series of shots are going to detonate the cluster bombs from that probe. In your second block, you're not going to have explosive probe up, so you're going to use your filler abilities. That's where you're going to get in your orbital strike, extra fragmentation grenades, and snipes, and takedowns in the sub 30%. Your first block, though, is always going to be the same. It's going to be explosive probe before it, and then plasma probe. That's our first ability in the block of 5. I don't start with explosive probe because the second block doesn't have it. So the second block ends with explosive probe, and then you start with the first block with it applied, if that makes sense. So this will already be on the target, and then we'll have plasma probe, series of shots, EMP discharge, fragmentation grenade, corrosive dart, plasma probe. Plasma probe then is the start of the next block of your block 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, start again. Plasma probe, and then you'll do series of shots. This will be on cooldown. This will be on cooldown. Well, if you can't see my cursor, your second block after that, your EMP discharge will be on cooldown. Your explosive probe will be on cooldown. So what you do instead is you can do a snipe into a fragmentation grenade, or if you have orbital strike off cooldown, you can do an orbital strike into a fragmentation grenade. Never do 2 snipes in a row, and try to have your snipe, if you're going to use it, be the first filler in the block. If you have to be the second one, like if you go fragmentation grenade into snipe, which you may think is better for energy management just with how the cast lines up, and when snipe drains its energy, which is at the end of the cast, you may think that you don't want to have, the energy drained from snipe straight into another 15. That's an instant 30 loss, but it's actually preferable. Because then you go straight into your explosive probe after that, and then your plasma probe and your series of shots, and that explosive probe series of shots combo regens a lot of energy. So it's better for you to be lower energy when you're going into that first block with series of shots detonating cluster bombs than to be higher. Because if you're at high energy, then you're going to be wasting energy regen, and then later on in your second block, a couple of blocks later, you're going to end up going below a threshold, and then you're just lost for the rest of the parse. You can't really recover after that. So this is a lot of information. I'll just go ahead and demonstrate it here. I have both modules applied, so I don't have the guild perk on, just at 9% alacrity for this. This spec does play very nicely at the 1.3. I actually prefer it at the 1.3, but I just don't like having an entire extra set of everything geared for the 1.3 without guild perk. It's really just not necessary. So if you have guild perk, that's nice. It plays very well with that. So here we go. We're going to start, well, here's a tip for parsing. Don't take this, because then you can't really start and cover. Because there's a chance that while you're precasting, your heal will proc your relics, and you really don't want your relics to proc while you're precasting. So I just don't take it, so I don't have to precast and then enter cover. I can just enter cover at the start, and then precast my lace target, because you may as well. Why not? We're going to go orbital strike, snipe, interrogation probe, then plasma probe, series of shots, EMP discharge, fragmentation grenade, corrosive dart, block 2, and we got some leg there. Reapply hunker down, plasma probe, series of shots. Back in, this is block 1 now. You see that orbital strike is off cooldown, but we're not going to use it. If you actually use that too often, you're going to run into energy problems because it costs 20 energy. I don't know why they've made that choice to make it, why the devs thought, oh yeah, let's make that ability cost 20 energy. I think the spec would play much nicer if it was like 15, like everything else is, but it is what it is. Back into block 1. See, I'm parsing later at night, so might have some cooldown issues. NG is famous for ghosting cooldowns. I got a ghost there. Oops, I missed a hunker down reapply there. So that might cause some energy problems, and it's most definitely going to be a DPS loss. I probably shouldn't have adrenaled there. I should probably wait till I have entrenched up, but I'm not trying to do the best parse ever here. I'm just not bothering using takedown here, just because sticking with the normal rotation. There, I'll use it. Yeah, see, I see. I find takedown just causes energy problems. Oops, I messed up. Oh, and then I get a ghost. I only clicked that once. Well, you get the idea. Okay, there we go.